So no Neymar, no David Silva for Thiago Silva for Brazil. Just one of the changes that we can expect. Dante will come in. He'll become even more crucial. There's of course David Luiz, whose role will also be more enhanced now, isn't it, Eric?
Exactly, Shivani. I mean, we're looking at a 4-2-3-1 formation out here. And the critical part of here where Thiago Silva and Luiz would pair in. We've got Dante coming in, like you mentioned, and this player's played in Germany. He plays with Bayern Munich, and if you see the German team, most of them are from Bayern Munich. So he knows what to expect. I mean, he's going to play against his own friends out there, and I think this defense line is good. And we also have Maicon here. What Maicon typically did in the last game, we all saw how effective he was down this wing, how he was finding his own players, how he was connecting and making those effective passes, very critical.
Actually, it was quite a nice tactical inclusion by Scolari.
Exactly.
Nobody really saw it coming.
Exactly, and everybody's acknowledging Louis van Gaal to be the tactician and the great person out here.
Scolari showed one.
I mean, Big Phil is also a great guy out there.
Yeah.
He's won the World Cup, so he has the experience. He's been there, he's done that.
Right.
And with Fernandinho out here, we know how he hacked poor J-Rod,
yes.
like you say. So yeah, I mean, the midfield out here, which will be supporting the defense, is very effective. And they've got Gustavo back now, a great player. He likes to stay back, he likes to support, he'll fill in for roles where his defense will need. And we know how effective now he's been. Now Oscar, very critical role, very critical role. Ash and I were just speaking about it, and what we realized is stats say that this man Oscar has won the maximum balls in the attacking zone from the players. He's been really effective. Earlier, if we had Neymar, most of the midfielders would always look up to Neymar.
Right.
Typically, what Falcao would have been for Colombia.
Yeah.
But then Oscar now has three options. His first option would always be Neymar, but now he has Hulk, Fred and Willian.
But what to do about Fred, Eric? How do you make this man make himself count on the pitch?
Well, Ash and I were discussing about whether Fred should stay and whether Oscar would move into another role.
Yeah.
So it's all a matter of time. I think if he doesn't do well in the first half, my gut says that he'll be out and we'll try somebody else in. And Ash,
that somebody else is Joe, isn't it, Ashley?
Yeah, mean you've got like-for-like replacement with Joe, or he could choose to play Bernard in the hole and maybe put Oscar back to his wider position.
Exactly. Like what would happen is, let's assume this is Bernard out here and Hulk comes in, because Oscar's been very effective in this role. And then we would have Bernard filling in instead of Fred, and I think it'll be a beautiful game to look at.
All right, let me just go across to Arunava very quickly. Arunava, yes, two important players, not their part of the Brazil squad. Do you think they have enough reserves, as we just discussed, Willian coming in or Bernard if he has to come in? Do you see this working together for Brazil against a well-oiled machine like the Germans?
I think if we start with the back and speak about Dante, I think Dante is as good as David Luiz and as Thiago Silva. So I think they don't have that much of a problem. Even though Bastian Schweinsteiger made a very, very funny comment yesterday in the press conference where he said Dante's problem will be that he might have to play Thomas Müller, and Thomas Müller himself doesn't know what he's doing. So that was one. And on the other side, up front, they can't replace Neymar. I mean, otherwise these other boys would have been playing. So they have a problem up front, and it's not just one, maybe two or three of them have to actually take the workload of Neymar and have to fill in for him.
Right, I'm going to hold on for our experts' predictions till the end. But let's just take a look at the highlights for Brazil so far in this World Cup. Of course, we have a few peaks for them from Twitter. The biggest one coming from the penalty shootout against Chile, 3-2 they won. That was perhaps the biggest test that Brazil had so far. And of course, now against the Germans, they face an even bigger test. That match against Colombia, leaving a lot of shadows really on the football or the style of football that Brazil have played. Let's take a look at some of the most retweeted tweets. Ochoa really became the star that he did because of that match and the performance he put up against Brazil. Here's Neymar, obviously an iconic figure for Brazil. Lots talked about him. Here's will.i.am, the R&B star, tweeting for Brazil. Lots of support for Brazil from celebrities, actually. And this is that moment from their last match when Luiz and Dani Alves, gave a shoulder for James Rodriguez to walk off the pitch. Brazil haven't really set the stage alight, but if they get one up against Germany, then they'll really get their fans into a tizzy. Talking about the opposition, let's take a look at how Germany got to the semi-finals. They haven't really been clinical, but they've got the job done. Everyone looking at Germany as the favourites, Germany as the team to beat. Bora, let me come to you first up. Have you seen enough from Germany so far? They haven't really been as lethal as perhaps they started out in that match against Portugal. And Muller seems to have lost a little bit of steam.
You know, I've made this point earlier and I'm making this point again. I mean, don't judge by what has happened. These are the 4 top football playing nations. They know how to play sort of teams like these. So who's played what? I mean, Brazil versus Mexico or Germany versus, another weaker team. Maybe France, yes, but not some of the others. So this is their moment. So whatever we've seen of Germany, to say that, oh, they're not lethal, Muller has lost steam because he's not scored in 3 games, just doesn't matter, Shivani. This is the World Cup semi-final. This is the biggest stage of all. Some say football is a matter of life and death. All these 22 players will tell you it's far bigger than that.
All right, that's the starting likely 11 that we're showing you on the screen. Let's talk about the formation for Germany. Mertesacker was left out, Ashley. We don't quite know exactly why. Some are saying it's tactical. Some said he was perhaps one of the players who was under the symptoms of flu. What are the changes you expect? And obviously Lamb's position becomes very crucial.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the side, the back 4, if he goes with the back 4 that played against the last team, then Lamb will go to right back. I'm not so sure if he will start there. If Hulk's going to be wide, can he deal with Hulk in wide situations? We know Hulk's quite physical, 6'1", very strong. Lamb's a little bit smaller and maybe not as quick, so I'm not so sure whether he may change that around and may put Boateng back to the right back, and he may bring Mertesacker back in. One thing is for sure on the team that Brazil have scored quite a lot of goals from set pieces. Germany are normally quite ruthless in marking from set pieces, so I expect this to be a big element tonight. We know they've relied a lot on Neuer coming out and sweeping from the back, looking for those through balls that he's very good at reading, so he will probably be called into action tonight if they're going to have any joy. In the midfield, they've ran around the pitch really well. They've got a lot of meterages covered on their stats. Ozil is another doubt for me. I've looked at some stats over the last week or so, and he's running probably 5 miles down on the rest of the midfielders. So if he's looking for an efficient performance, he could sacrifice Ozil, maybe put Muller wide and go with maybe Podolski up front is an option if he's fully fit, or he could bring Lahm back into midfield, put Boateng out and play Mertesacker. I think the system will be the same, the 4-3-3, but it'll be, if he wants the best efficient meterages covered out the Germans, then for me he's probably got to drop Ozil, but at least they have got some options. I think with Brazil it more or less picks themselves. With Germany he's got the luxury really to be a coach, to be a manager, which is what they're paid for, and tinker with his systems because he's got some personnel available to him.
Right, you mentioned Neuer and his role. Of course, Ozil's point was made by Arunava as well. Arunava, very quickly, Germany do have the best keeper in the world. There's no doubt about that, isn't it?
We can discuss everything else in this World Cup, but I think Manuel Neuer has proven that he is at the moment the best goalkeeper, and he's not only the best goalkeeper, maybe he's even the best sweeper and libero. Yeah. So on that front, and he gives the back a certain stability, which every team would be very, very happy about.
Right, we'll take our predictions from our guests in just a bit, but it's looking quite good, it's looking quite set, and it's difficult to call this one. Some may want to see Germany as the favourites, but Brazil playing at home, even as Joachim Low accepted, they'll have a huge advantage. Let's take a look at Brazil's high points in this World Cup so far. Lots of them, and the first one came in the first match itself, isn't it? That 4-0 thrashing of Portugal. The next one against Ghana, and then thereon and therefore the third best peak coming in their last match. This one perhaps least exciting of their matches versus France. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that did all the talking. Of course, this was closer, getting same as Ronaldo for his 15th goal against Germany, the highest goal scorers in World Cup football. And here's another one, President Obama watching the USA versus Germany World Cup game aboard the Air Force One. It wasn't a great match. I mean, it was a great match for Tim Howard for sure, but this is why we talked about Neuer. This is his heat map. That is one of the most tweeted tweets about Germany. Just look at his heat map and just why Neuer's role as a sweeper goalkeeper is just so crucial. And here's another one. Germany together celebrating. Congratulations, Germany, FIFA World Cup semi-finalists for the 4th consecutive time. Remember, they've set a new record by getting into the 4th consecutive semi-final. Can they get past this stage now? Though many believe Germany have been building up to this moment for the last 6 to 8 years. Can they get their hands on the title? First up for them will be Brazil, of course. All right, a few hours left to go before the big semi-final, Brazil versus Germany. Time now to take final scoreline predictions from our guests. Ashley, you first. The scoreline and why?
Well, is it going to be the brutal Brazil or the beautiful Brazil? I'm not so sure. If it's me and I'm putting my money on it, I'll probably go 1-0 Germany. I think they're just going to grind them down, keep possession of the ball and defend for their lives and probably just get a clean sheet.
Yeah, that's an Englishman wearing a German t-shirt supporting a German result against Brazil in the World Cup. Eric?
All right, 2-1 for Brazil.
2-1 for Brazil.
And I'll tell you why. Germany will keep shape, will play the beautiful football, which is not actually beautiful to watch, but the Germans say it's beautiful, it's organized. Brazilians, flamboyant, they'll get exposed, that's where they'll get a goal in their net from Germany. But overall, I would like to see a one-on-one situation between Neuer and Hulk, and that's what I discussed. He'll go out there, he should score, and a free kick or something should come out.
A repeat of the David Luiz
hopefully
stellar free kick. All right, Boria, your prediction and why?
You know, I'll actually go with Eric. And the reason you'll sort of find it surprising, gods are with Brazil. They need to exorcise the Maracana. It's their night. They've suffered enough. Germany will have it in Russia 4 years down the line. This is Brazil's night. I'm wearing Germany as well, but I'll be a traitor today and go with Brazil.
Yes, I think I could have seen that one coming. He wants a Brazil-Argentina final. There's no two doubts about that. But the man in Berlin has to go for Germany. So what's the scoreline, Arunava, for you?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. I think you'll have a goal from Miroslav Klose. He'll break Ronaldo's record against Brazil in Brazil.
Wow.
And another goal either from Thomas Müller or maybe Mesut Ozil. I think Ozil needs that goal, and I think Ozil will, if he plays from the start or comes on, he'll give Germany some spark.
All right, so it's 2-2. 2 of our experts to Brazil, 2 of our experts to Germany. We'll come back tomorrow, of course, with the result and the build-up of the next semi-final, and we'll see who has the bragging rights. Ashley, Eric, Boria and Arunava, thanks a lot for joining us. Keep watching Headlines today for the latest from the World Cup, and of course, join us back at the same time tomorrow with the latest updates. Goodbye.